Hello, welcome. My name is Rodric King. This is episode number 2 of Singing Made Easy. So today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips to make you a better singer. All right, we're going to start with diaphragmatic breathing. Why? Because that's what we left off on the last episode. It is highly, highly important. Anything that you do with your voice, no matter what it is that you do with your voice, you're going to need to breathe. And that breathing needs to be supported. And it needs to be supported by your diaphragm, okay? This is the way air escapes your lungs. And you use that, you put that air to work using your breath. So the only way you can get the maximum capacity out of every breath that you take is by using proper support. And that will get you the ability to sustain notes, to have better tonality, to do vocal runs, to do scales, even if you're doing speech. Like when I say speech, that means you're giving a speech, you're a preacher, maybe even a motivational speaker, but even rap, because I use this for work when I do raps with the band. So this is how I get through a lot of my rap verses that has a lot of words in it. All right, so number 1 is diaphragmatic breathing. You have to master that. You have to have the right technique that can be used for speaking tone, mixed voice, head voice. It has to be able to use across all registers, okay? Now, number 2, this is the second tip. Pronounce all of your words. So like, for an example, I train a lot of people, and the first thing that they do when I ask them, this is exactly what I do with my students to get them to understand the difference in mentality and the approach that they give when I ask them to do something. I'll say, what's your name? Well, my name is Rodric King. All right, now sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to... Like, stop. Wait. Okay, hold on. Why is there a different approach from the way you pronounce your name? It's natural, it's confident, it's casual. It's no thought, no intention, no energy. It's just however it comes out. But when I ask you to sing, you transform into something like it's this extra ability. And then I continue to explain that, hey, look, when it comes to singing is very, very simple. It's pronouncing the words on the notes. That's all singing is. And I get a lot of students that say, oh, well, I'm not a very good singer. I can't sing. All right. I want you to hum the tune, Happy Birthday. And then they do it. They, Okay, good. So you have the basic notes. You have the notes. Now all you have to do is put words on the notes. Now sing the notes with the words. And then they say, happy birthday to you. You just sung a song. It's that simple. That's how simple it is. Even when it comes to freestyling, like I write songs. I have songs on iTunes and across other platforms where you can find those songs that I wrote. If I write, she's going to have my baby. She's going to have my baby. It was just that easy to create a melody. I just pronounced the words. However it naturally came out, it came out. Now, I can record that, listen to it over and over again. And she's going to have my baby. I'm just enunciating every single letter, every single word, every single vowel, every single noun. I'm just pronouncing it. Whatever note naturally comes out is the song. So when I ask them to sing happy birthday, they try to create the sound. You don't have to create the sound. If you enunciate all of the words, it will create the sound for you. And you can add things like, this is something that I do to help with melodies. Happy birthday, happy. You can create the range that the notes take. You can use a visual representation of where the notes are going to go, so that you don't have to do so much thinking. You know what I mean? To craft it the way you want. And you can keep doing that until you find something that resonates for you, the song, the energy, the feel, or it just makes sense to, when you hear it, it just sounds right. So that's pronouncing the words. That is how you do it. You will become a better singer if you pronounce the words. Now, if you try to mumble the words or don't know it, you're going to go off track. Some people are good at improvising that way, but it is best to know the words and pronounce the words. Some words, there's little tricks to the trade on how you approach certain nouns, how you pronounce certain words, like the k. You might say chew instead of you. Chew versus you. For whatever you're singing, however fast the phrase is, it may make more sense to say chew. You chew. It might help that phrase flow on the run on the vocal scale. It may help a little bit better to flow, but it just depends on what you're doing. So diaphragmatic breathing. 2 is pronouncing the words. 3, this is the third tip. Are you ready? Here we go. Know the notes of the phrase. So if you can't remove the words of a song and only do the notes and hit the notes accurately as the song suggests, or improvise and do it your own way and stay on the key of the song with the notes that you've chosen, you need to go back and learn the notes of the song. Like, as a professional singer, I'm forced to learn a lot of new songs on a regular basis. And the very first thing that I learned is the notes. I learn the notes before I even learn the words. Why? Because I leave the song on replay and just let it play over and over and over and over and over again. Now that I learned now I can go back and read the words. I don't even have to know the song. I know the notes because I just kept listening to it on repeat all day. Now I can go back and read. Going nowhere fast, we reached the climax. We're together, now we're all done. Won't commit, so we choose to go away. Would you separate? You see what I'm saying? Now I'm just throwing the words on the notes. So knowing the notes of the phrase helps to make you a better singer. So diaphragmatic breathing, pronouncing the words, knowing the notes of the phrase that you're singing. That's the third one. Here's the fourth one: scales and apply proper diaphragmatic breathing. Now, it's one thing to practice diaphragmatic breathing. I don't know why I'm having a problem with that word. It's one thing to knowing and practicing diaphragmatic breathing and then get in a song and do not apply that technique. You need to apply. See, you can do the exercise and do them correctly, but applying it to a song, applying it to a phrase, applying it to your breathing, and taking all these things, all these elements that you're training individually and then putting it all together into a song, it takes practice. So you actually have to, after you practice techniques, I immediately make the student, before the end of that session, all right, now we're going to apply this to singing. I have to connect that, because if I don't build that bridge and get them across the bridge, they're not going to be applying this when they go do a full song. So if we do exercises in this room all night, then we go to a karaoke and I listen to you sing, you're not doing anything I taught you. Why? Because I haven't done my job to connect the technique to an actual song. So now scales, because this tip says scales and apply the proper diaphragmatic breathing. So what you do after you have proper diaphragmatic breathing, now you need to do scales. Da, 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 da. That's a scale. Now, notice I just did the scale. I just did the notes and I vocalized it. 2 ways to say that: vocalize and phonation. You'll hear me say those 2 phrases. That's singing terminology. Vocalizing, phonation, they mean the same thing. Uttering a sound, creating a sound. Doesn't matter what kind of sound, it doesn't even have to be a language, but it's any sound that's coming from the vocal cords. Vocalizing, phonation. So when you notice, I just phonated that scale, but I didn't consciously think, okay, am I engaging my diaphragm when I say that? No, I wasn't. I just was saying it naturally. And anything that you do naturally and you're doing it properly, typically you're naturally doing it the natural way. So you're kind of using your diaphragm. But a lot of times when we go to singing, we switch things off and do things weird. So if I consciously say, okay, let me make sure I apply my diaphragm, take in a breath, hold it, then speak the phrase. La, 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 la. See how that's more defined than la, 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 la. See how it's not broken? See how it's not supported? See how it breaks at the end because the breath gets weak. But if I support it properly, la 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 la. I even have a nice sustain at the end, and it's crispy clear, it's broken, it sounds uniform versus just sloppily la 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 la. That's no diaphragm support. It's just I'm just uttering something. I'm just phonating. I'm just vocalizing without applying the technique. So you have to make sure if you're doing scales, you have to make sure that you're properly using your diaphragm. You have to engage your diaphragm when you're doing this. Now, with a vocal coach is going to show you the sensation of how it feels when your diaphragm is engaged. They're going to show you the sensation on how it feels when this is relaxed and you're doing it properly, because whenever you're not properly supporting the phonation with your diaphragm, you're going to feel tension here in your throat, in the neck. You should never feel tension here. Never, ever, ever, ever. Should you feel tension, tightness, or tension, pain, nothing should ever be here. This should be completely relaxed. As like when you're talking, this is completely relaxed. Even if I say, hey, it's completely relaxed. All right. So applying these scales. Now, here's another thing. Outside of proper diaphragmatic support, when you go, scales are important. You have to be doing scales every single day. I do not recommend you doing scales until you have a great diaphragmatic breathing system. You have to use a technique that is engaged, that can be used for higher notes, mid notes, mixed notes, and chest notes. All right, chest voice register. All right, so find the proper diaphragmatic support technique. And then after you master that, then move on to doing scales. Now, here's the great thing about scales. Scales keeps you in key. After you do so many scales, going up and down the scales with different vowels, different phrases, different registers, after you've done that so many times, I can be in a song and a scale would be my vocal run. So like, let's say this, happy birthday to you, didn't know it's you, happy birthday to you. Ah, that's a scale. Ah, you can skip notes. You can do the running note by note, up and down. Ah, happy birthday. Or you can happy birthday. That's vocal scales. And all of those runs are in the timing of the song, for one, and they're in the key of the song. Going off key, I don't want to practice going off key. Singers find that difficult to do anyway. But you can, if you do a run that is off the scale or the key of the song, then that run is off. That run is wrong. If the timing is not in the timing of the song, that run is off. That run is no good. All right, that vocal scale. So scales is a run, is a riff. You just add it to your songs. And that's a whole nother conversation. So scales. No, let's go back to the top. Diaphragmatic breathing is tip number 1. Number 2, pronounce the words. Enunciate every word, every letter, every vowel, everything. All right. 3, know the notes of the phrase. Without the words, know the notes of the song or the phrase. 4, scales. Make sure when you do your scales, make sure you apply the proper diaphragmatic support. All right. Now, we've covered the 4 tips. Now, here's the 5th tip. This is special techniques. I named this special techniques because it's more on the advanced side, all right? The special techniques would involve teeth, tongue, jaw, and throat. Those are 3 different things as far as your equipment outside of diaphragmatic support, okay? You need to have the teeth in the right position. You need to use them properly. You need to have the tongue in the right position. You need to use it properly. You need to have the jaw in the right position. You need to use it properly, along with the throat needs to be relaxed and open and wide for bigger notes. Like when you yawn. Let's talk about the throat first. When you yawn, when the jaw drops, it opens the throat. Like if you practice that, if you yawn, you feel how back here, it kind of feels like it pulls and it stretches open. When I'm doing my bigger, larger notes, I'm making a large space, a larger size cavity in the back of my throat for those big notes to come out, okay? And it produces a better sound. If I'm not opening my throat, you're closing off the sound and you're blocking off the sound and you're not getting the maximum of that high note. You're not getting the most efficient use of that breath and the phonation. So you have to learn how to use proper technique. There's exercises that I have for all of my students to help open the throat, keep it big and wide for bigger notes, and it just improves this overall singing quality. The jaw needs to drop, comfortably drop in a right position for any sustain. So if I go, I want to go, the jaw has to drop, and it has to drop naturally, comfortably. So before I start anything, when I'm warming up my voice, I stretch my jaw, because it's like a balloon. When you pull a balloon, you know those little tiny balloons where you try to blow it before you stretch it, it won't expand because it needs to be stretched first. The fibers need to be stretched. The muscles in the jaw are almost similar. The fibers in your muscles in the jaw, if you don't stretch it first, like if I naturally try to drop my jaw before I stretch the fibers, it'll drop about like this. But if I stretch them nice and good, get the muscles warmed up and ready to activate or relax, now when I naturally drop my jaw, it drops a lot lower. All right, and that rounds the mouth, and mouth is a whole nother thing. I should have added the mouth in here as well. So anytime you're doing a sustain, you want to drop the jaw in a comfortable position, along with the throat nice and wide. Those two things right there will make your high notes, along with the mattress effect. Your high notes will ring out and be so beautiful. If you want to know what that sounds like, watch a few of my videos that I have here on my YouTube channel, where I'm just belting out songs. This stuff works. The tongue. I have a technique that an exercise that I call taming the tongue. You have to get that muscle in the back of your tongue strong enough to naturally drop. When that jaw drops, that the back of the tongue needs to drop and get out of the way of the throat, so the air and the sound can get out. It can escape, and it can escape in the best efficient way possible. So if the tongue is in the back of the throat, like if this is the throat and the tongue is there in a way, it needs to drop and get down out of the way so that you can create a nice big open sound. So there's exercises for that. The teeth, I think I'm going to save the teeth for my vocal students, because that's a technique that can make a huge difference as well. But I want to save something to keep you coming for more, okay? So dropping the jaw, open the throat, get the tongue out of the path of the throat. Those are the 5 tips that I have for you today. If you're interested in vocal training and having me as your vocal coach, I'm leaving all of that information in the description of this video. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe. Please comment below. Let me know what you think of this training. If you have any questions, concerns, or if you have advice of what you think my next video should be, or what you need help or assistance with, write that in the comments below and let me see what you think, and I'll possibly get a video out for you soon. With all that said, check out some of my other singing videos, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a good day.